think you can hear me now. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Ratanataya. My greetings to all venerable monastics here this evening and to all friends gathered here. Happy to see all of you. We're gathered this evening to celebrate a great event, the Parinibbāna of Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī Therī and the founding 500 Bhikkhunī Sangha mothers. Now, this is the lunar anniversary of that great event. 1 week ago, on the full moon, the Magha Puja full moon, we celebrated the anniversary of, several things, but including the Buddha himself. He announced that he would soon be going into Parinibbāna within 3 months. And Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī Therī announced that she would be going to Parinibbāna 7 days later, that she would have 7 final days of teaching, and then Parinibbāna anniversary comes to be today, 7 days later, on the half moon, the Kanhapaka Atami Uposita, the 8th day darkening quarter Uposita day. Now, this year we have an especially auspicious astronomical event this day. I want to show you. We have a grand planetary alignment today. Not only is it the moon in this special position, but also 7 planets are lined up all in the sky above us right now, gathering together as if to celebrate this great event. So if you have a chance after this, you can go out and look up in the sky and see all these planets gathered together. And so then here we all are also gathered together this evening. And happy to see so many of you. I'd like to, I'll introduce myself. I'm Bhikkhunī Kaccāyana. This is Bhikkhunī Thāvirā. We will be hosting this evening's gathering. And let's see, others. One you do not see here right now is our founding abbess and teacher, Ayatoloka. But she has been an integral part of putting this program together, gathering all the information, gathering the people, and just many blessings to her. She's not joining us this evening due to her health, but we send her our blessings. We share the merits of this program with her and appreciate all that she's done to put it together. I'm also very happy to introduce, I'm not sure on the camera which way it looks like to you, but our Vice Abbess Ayasobhana Therī, she's just next to me here. And she will also be sharing some reflections with us this evening, along with many of our other monastics. Next to her is Venerable Dhammavara and Samaneri Dhammajivi. And online here, let's see, who do we have? I saw earlier. Okay, we have Bhikkhuni Shila, good to see you. Bhikkhuni Gotami, Bhikkhuni Dhammavihari, Ayamarajina, and Samaneri Avera. Okay, happy to see all of you here. Also, we wanted to especially appreciate Ruwanti and Maitri, who helped with a part of this program that we'll see later on. Good to see you. And Deepak is here, Deepak Anand. Happy to see you, Deepak. We'll share some of your work later this evening also. And for Ayamarajina and Ruwanti and Maitri, we wanted to give special congratulations to about the new Dhammasala there in Florida, Bhavaniroda Hermitage. They've all been working hard recently and just inaugurated a new Dhammasala there. So we want to share our congratulations and blessings with them for that. And there are many of you here. Welcome to everyone. I won't go through all the names, but happy to see you all. Welcome.
And a few more here in the room that you can't see.
Yes, there are some hidden people off the camera here also. So welcome to all, and we'll be moving ahead with our program. Because this is an Uposatha day, the Uposatha is the day when the monastics gather together to recite their precepts together, to clear up any business that they need to handle on the full moon and the new moon each month. But there's also the opportunity on the half moons in between that one may also observe the Uposatha. There's tradition not only for the monastics but for the devoted lay followers that they will go to the temple on the Uposatha days up to 4 a month, and we'll take this as a time of special practice. Especially the tradition is to undertake 8 precepts for the time of just that day. You can take them that day and then they expire at the following dawn. So we would like to invite anyone who would like to, this is not required, but if you would like to undertake 8 precepts as part of this Uposatha program, as part of your practice this evening that we will be sharing in honor of Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī Therī, our Patipati Puja. Patipati is practice, Puja is honor. This is the whole theme of our program today, is to be honoring. And so if we would like to undertake 8 precepts for this evening, that means that after this program you would not go and watch Netflix, you would not go and have whatever delicious snack may be your favorite one.
Well, for some of them it might be morning, so then it would be for the whole day.
Yes, right. Depending on your time zone, it may be morning, in which case it would be more of a commitment for you. But the idea is that if you would like to undertake the 8 precepts right now, you are welcome to do so, and then to take this the rest of today, however long it may be, for your practice with the 8 precepts, and then that would expire at dawn tomorrow. If anyone does not wish to do that, we will also have the possibility of undertaking 5 precepts. So it's your choice. We will invite one of our guests in the room here to be leading in the chanting of this. We'll invite Ayasolpana to offer the 5 and 8 precepts. They'll be put together, and we'll have someone here leading in the room. You're invited to chant along, but please with your mics off, because on Zoom it just doesn't work to chant together in that way. So, welcoming, and let me put this up on the screen for you just a moment. This one. Find the right thing. Okay, here we go.
We'll take the refuges all together, and those who wish to have 5 precepts will recite the 5 precepts, and then after that we'll recite the 8 precepts.
We can bow together 3 times.
So you're requesting the 8 precepts because that's for you. How about those who are taking 5 can think about requesting 5?
We can bow together 3 times. Bow. 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 Mayam aye ti saranena saha atha silani yachama dutiyampi mayam aye ti saranena saha atha silani yachama tatiyampi mayam aye ti saranena saha atha silani yachama.
Repeat after me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Saranagamana nititam, the refuges are complete.
Ama aye.
Another 5. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precepts to refrain from taking the life of any living creature.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Take the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given.
Kame sumichachara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Kamesu michachara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual misconduct.
Musawada veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Musawada veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from lying.
Sura meraya majjapamadatana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Sura mereya majjapamadatana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drink and drugs which lead to carelessness.
So for those who are taking the 5 precepts, the precepts are complete. Having undertaken the protection of these precepts, you should strive on with diligence. Now for those who wish to take the 8 precepts. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of any living creature.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept from taking that which is not given.
Brahmacharya veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Brahmacharya veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from any intentional sexual activity.
Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from lying.
Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Sura Meraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drink and drugs which lead to carelessness.
Vikala bhojana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Vikala Bhojana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from eating at inappropriate times.
Nachagita vadita visukadasana malakanda vilepana dharana mantana vibhusanatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Nacha Gita Wadita Visukadasana Malaganda Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from entertainment, beautification, and adornment.
Uchasayana mahasayana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Uchasayana Mahasayana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from lying on a high or luxurious sleeping place.
Imani atta sikkhapadani samadhiyami.
Imaniyata Sikkhapadani Samadhiyami. Imaniyata Sikkhapadani Samadhiyami. Imaniyata Sikkhapadani Samadhiyami. I undertake these 8 precepts. I undertake these 8 precepts. I undertake these 8 precepts.
Imani atta sikkhapadani silena sugatinyanti silena bhoga sampada silena nimbutimyanti tasma sila visodaye. The precepts are the source of happiness. Virtue is the source of true wealth. Virtue is the source of peacefulness. Therefore, let virtue be purified.
Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
And we bow together 3 times. Bow. Bow. Bow.
Sadhu, sadhu, anumodana. Thank you very much. Yeah, this be right there. So, with that, we'll go to our topic of this evening. Venerable Thāvirā is going to give us an introduction to the life of Venerable Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī Therī and the importance of this day.
Thank you. Right, so I'm here to tell you first a little bit more about what this day represents and why it's so important for us to be honoring it. So this is the lunar anniversary of the Parinibbāna day of Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī and the Bhikkhunī Sangha founding mothers. And it's the waning half moon Uposatha, the Paguna Masang Kanha Atami Uposatha. And just to acknowledge that different countries use the lunar calendar a little differently. So in some places this is still the lunar month of Magha. So first of all, who was Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī? So for some of us this may be really familiar, and for some it may be new. So, even if it's familiar, I think it's a good opportunity for us to really reflect on this and call it to mind, even if it's a very familiar story. So she was the Buddha's maternal aunt, the sister of his mother, and she was also married to the Buddha's father, King Suddhodana. And the Buddha's biological mother, Mahamaya, passed away 7 days after he was born. And Mahāpajāpatī Gotami then accepted him to raise as her own. So she had her own child, which she gave over to the care of a nurse, and she raised the Buddha from birth as his mother. So the Buddha went off on his great quest and was successful. And after his awakening, he returned home to visit his family in Kapilavastu. And he taught his family when he returned. And so with that teaching, Mahāpajāpatī attained stream entry. That's the first stage of awakening. Some years later, accompanied by 500 ladies of her retinue, Mahāpajāpatī requested ordination from the Buddha. And the stories tell us that initially he refused, and she persisted until eventually he granted her request. And this was the founding of the Bhikkhunī Sangha. So you may remember that we recollect the anniversary of that founding on International Bhikkhuni Day, which is also known as Fourfold Sangha Day, because that's the day that the Fourfold Sangha of bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, and laymen and laywomen followers, the day that arose into the world. And we remember that anniversary on the full moon of September. So the texts tell us that very quickly, I think 7 days after her ordination, she attained arahantship, full awakening. Now, the anniversaries we're remembering today are for something that came many years later. So Mahāpajāpatī is now 120 years old, and she's still living surrounded by the Bhikkhunī Sangha, including those 500 bhikkhunis who ordained with her, as well as others. And the texts tell us that all of the bhikkhunis of that original group are fully awakened. So, as Venerable Kaccāyana mentioned, 1 week ago on the full moon, we celebrated Magha Puja, and that commemorates the lunar anniversaries of several events through the Buddha's life. And one of those events occurred at the time that we're remembering now. And this is as we're coming to the end of Mahāpajāpatī's very long 120-year life. So on that Magha full moon, the Buddha announced that his own life was coming to an end, and he would enter Parinibbāna, so final Nibbana, himself in 3 months. And that announcement of the Buddha led to the events that we're remembering here on this waning half-moon Uposatha. So before I go on, we'll just let you know, how do we know this story? So this story is told in the Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Therī Apadana. The Apadanas are heroic biographies that are recorded in verse, which tell the stories of the great Thera and Therī elders. So these are the early, fully awakened bhikkhus and bhikkhunis that were living at the time of the Buddha. And these biographies tell us about their very long journeys. This is over lifetimes. So the way that they acted and the things that they did that then brought them to this final lifetime in the company of the Buddha and fully awakened. And the Apadanas are in the Pali Canon, found in the Khuddaka Nikaya, following the Therigatha. So the Therigatha are the awakening poems of the elder bhikkhunis. Now, the Apadana of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami tells us of the events on the final day of her life. And in it, she also remembers and tells of her very long journey that she took to arrive at this really extraordinary role that she had in the life of the Buddha. So both his mother, as well as the founder of the Bhikkhunī Sangha. And then the Appadana also goes on to tell of her entering into Parinibbāna and her funeral rites. So I will tell you the story that the Appadana tells, and then later on in the program we'll have several other bhikkhunis who will each reflect on particular verses out of this Appadana that are have particular significance for them. So you'll get to hear some of the selections of this original text. But here I'll give you kind of the overview story. So as the Appadana begins, the Buddha and Mahāpajāpatī are dwelling in Vesali. And while she's residing in solitude, it occurs to Mahāpajāpatī that the Buddha's final nirvana is coming soon, and she will not see it. So now is the time for her to enter Parinibbāna herself. And this same reasoning also occurred to the great disciple and Sangha leader Therī. And then, with Khema at their head, the 500 Bhikkhunī Sangha founding mothers. So these are this group who had all gone forth into monastic life together and realized the path and its fruits together. They decided to all enter Parinibbāna together also. So with that thought of all of them, the earth trembled and thunder roared, and the devas began to lament. And all of them, Mahāpajāpatī and the 500 bhikkhunis, went to the Buddha to seek his blessings. Seeing this great procession, faithful laywomen emerged from their dwellings and bowed at Gotami's feet, grieving, and asking her, how could she go and leave them without a protector? And in response, Mahāpajāpatī is really clear. She's gone forth and she has lived the holy life, and this is its joyful conclusion. So those she is leaving behind shouldn't be grieving for her, but their response should instead be a determination for their own practice to follow in her footsteps. So coming before the Buddha, Mahāpajāpatī says that though she had served as his mother in this lifetime, he had served as her father, giving her the gift of the true Dhamma, so that she was reborn in her flawless body made of truth. And she reflects that she has played the ultimate and most rare role of motherhood, that of mother of the Buddha. She speaks about the beauty of his body, adorned with the 32 marks of a great man, and she bows at his feet. She then asks his forgiveness for any fault that there might have been in her way of entering monastic life, or in her instruction to her fellow bhikkhunis. But the Buddha is really clear in response. He says, what fault could be found in one who is going to final nibbana? Mahāpajāpatī praises the Buddha and his teachings. She then says her farewells to Nanda and Rahula, who themselves are also Arahants, and who know that this is the way of conditioned things. And she says her farewell to Ananda, who is still in training, and he grieves. And he knows that the Buddha, too, soon will be going to Parinibbāna. Here, Mahāpajāpatī consoles him, and she reminds him how effective his efforts on behalf of the bhikkhunis has been. So when she initially requested ordination and the Buddha initially declined, Ananda interceded and argued on her behalf, and the Buddha agreed. And so she's reminding him, how effective that was, that now there are even 7-year-old girls who are realizing sainthood in the Buddha sasana, a state that's so hard to reach for even very senior men of other paths. And she reminds Ananda of the Buddha's past words, that the way to worship a Buddha is for his followers to be united, energetic, and resolute in their own efforts towards awakening. So the Buddha gives his consent then to Mahāgotami entering Parinibbāna, recognizing that she knows the proper time. The Buddha then says that there are fools who doubt that women are able to penetrate the Dhamma. And he asks her to display miracles to dispel that wrong view. She does so, which the text goes on to describe in many verses, showing her absolute mastery over the world with all of its realms and its elements. The onlookers are amazed and astonished, and Mahāgotami then begins to tell the story of her spiritual career. So she relates her meeting with the ancient Buddha, Padumuttara, and how she greatly admired him. And she saw him place his aunt as the foremost among bhikkhunis of his assembly. And she then aspired to that same place herself. And he predicted that she would indeed achieve that aspiration. The Apadana then tells her story continuing on through the following lifetimes, both in heavenly realms and back in the human realm. And she continued her accumulation of merit towards this aspiration that she had made, until finally, in her final lifetime, she arrived here in the household of the Buddha. The Apadana tells us that there was a whole group of men and women who were journeying through these lifetimes together. And Mahāgotami speaks of seeing those male kinfolk, part of this group, going forth and realizing arahantship. And likewise, Mahāgotami and her accompanying retinue of those 500 women who had actually spent many lifetimes together, they also went forth and realized the same. So, unswayed by the grief of the faithful laywomen, Mahāgotami then entered the jhanas in sequence, and finally she reached nirvana, rising up like the flame of a fuel-less lamp. And her bhikkhuni companions soon followed her. There was then an earthquake, lightning fell from the sky and thunder crashed, flowers raining down from the sky with the sound of angels. And the heavens spoke, saying, "Indeed, all conditioned things are impermanent, just like this, as these aggregates have dispersed." Heavenly beings then approached and informed the Buddha, and he in turn asked Ananda to inform the Sangha that his mother had passed. Ananda then called the Bhikkhu Sangha to assembly, and her cremation and funeral were prepared. There was a funeral bier with golden canopy carried on the shoulders of the 4 great world guardians, with Sakka and the Devas gathered around. There was celestial music and a rain of flowers. And the Apadana says that even the Parinibbāna of the Buddha was not equal to that of Gotami, because for hers, the Buddha and monks like Sariputta were present to officiate. After the crematory fire was out, Ananda placed Mahāpajāpatī Gotami's crematory remains in her alms bowl and handed them to the Buddha. The Buddha spoke. "Just as a great tree possessed of heartwood, standing, rising from its roots, will eventually fall to pieces, no matter how mighty the aggregates due to impermanence, thus Gotami of the Bhikkhunī Sangha is utterly and completely gone. Oh, what a wonder it was to me when my mother attained final nirvana, leaving nothing but her crematory remains. There is neither sorrow nor tears. There is no grieving for such a one, as she who has crossed over the ocean of samsara. Beyond all burning, she is cooled, well extinguished. She was learned and of great wisdom, with wisdom vast and wide, seniormost among the bhikkhunis. Remember her thus, O bhikkhus." The Buddha then continues to laud her mastery and excellence in many verses, until finally, as he will say only 3 months later of himself, "Therefore be lamps or islands unto yourselves, the foundations of mindfulness your domain. Cultivate the 7 factors of awakening and put an end to suffering." Thus ends the Gotamī Therī Upadana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So as I mentioned, that coming later in the program, you'll hear some more verses from the Upadana and my fellow bhikkhunis reflecting on them. I think first, Venerable Kaccāyana has a couple of short slides to share.
No, we've rearranged.
Okay, we have rearranged.
What we have next is taking off from this wonderful story. It really is quite dramatic in many ways, and we wanted to share with you about a recent dramatic adaptation of this story. Do you have your slides ready?
I think I do.
All right. Well, Thāvirā is going to share about this. This is in part so that for Ruanti,
Right, it's late for that.
it's late for Ruanti.
So, we want to just briefly tell you about a film that was released in December 2024 called Gotama Buddha Mata, and a Sinhala language movie, which probably Ruanti can tell us the title of in Sinhala. And this is a movie on the life and Parinibbāna of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami. So we actually have not seen it. It's only released in Sri Lanka and now in Australia and New Zealand. But we found information about it online, and this image is actually a painting that was released as part of the promotion of the movie, and that's the scene we have used on our promotion for this event. So I just wanted to share a little bit of what we know about it. It's a feature film released in December, and so it's been playing in Sri Lanka for 2 months and has just opened in Australia. And directed by Emeritus Professor Sunil Ariyaratne, and it portrays the life of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami. And particularly relevant to our program this evening, the narrative in the movie is framed by the story of Dharma Master Bhikkhu Phashien, who was a pilgrim who traveled on foot from China to India and Sri Lanka in the 5th century CE. This is a screenshot here from one of the trailers for the movie. And the movie begins with him arriving at the Parinibbāna stupa of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami. And later in the program, you'll hear more from Seminary Dhammajivi about this stupa. And then the movie follows his hearing her life story as it's told to him by the Bhikkhunī Sangha of Vesali up to her Parinibbāna, which we're remembering this evening. And he's greatly inspired, and he helped organize bringing the Bhikkhunī Sangha dual ordination lineage from Sri Lanka to China. So this is another screenshot from the movie of her stupa. And here's a screenshot of the Bhikkhunī Sangha. There's a QR code here, which is a link to the one of the trailers online if you'd like to screenshot that and go watch. And it's playing widely in Australia and New Zealand, February through March. And also released in combination with the movie, there was a short classical Buddhist kavi poem by Ichiro Pereira. And we have, it's just a short little song, and our friend Jawanti has helped us by translating it. So we're just going to play the song with her translation, and I think she and Maitri might reflect on it also a little bit.
Yes, so we appreciate them staying with us this evening.
They're on the East Coast, so
On
it's
the
late
East
for
Coast,
them.
it's late, but we're going to play this video just a moment. So, just a beautiful rendition of her story with musical setting.
You did the sound thing.
Yes. So, okay. We'll play.
Modero
Well, thank you very much. Iruanti or Maitri, would you like to share any little reflection about translating this? May I bring you on screen here?
It is an honor to be a part of this gathering today.
Rawanti, you're very quiet. Can you get closer to the microphone?
Can you hear me now?
A little better.
Good evening, venerables. It is an honor to be a part of this gathering today. To honor Mahāpajāpatī Gotami. This is a character and a name that's close to my heart, because the name of my secondary school is Gotami. So this name was, I grew up holding this name close to my heart. And when I received the request to do the translation, first I went through a few lines and then I received the entire poem. And it was in a few words, it was a very moving experience. Throughout every line, what was expressed was the great affection in her heart. And I don't know whether I was able to capture the entire emotions with the translation, but it was done very beautifully and it was a very moving experience.
Okay. So sadhu, 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 anumodana for your efforts and for that lovely sharing. Thank you. Okay. So for this next portion of the program, we're going to invite several of our bhikkhunis from around the world to share their reflections on individual verses from the Gotamī Therī Apadana, the text that Venerable Thāvirā was talking about earlier. We have some who are here in person with us who we'll be happy to hear from, and also some who have pre-recorded videos for us. Going to go in order not of seniority, but of in which order the verses that they've chosen appear in the Apadana. So beginning here, I'm going to share a video from Venerable Bhikkhunī Arya Sanghamita. She is from Malaysia, and she will be coming here to visit us at Dhammadarini this coming spring. So we're happy to start to connect with her online, and you may be seeing more of her as time goes on. So she will be speaking about verse 22 and 23. There we go. All right.
Namo Buddhaya. Good evening, everyone. My name is Arya Sanghamita Bhikkhuni from Malaysia, Sri Lanka Buddhist Temple in Kuala Lumpur City. For today's special Atami half-morning Uposatha program, here I have chosen these two verses from the Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Apadana. They are these two verses, number 22 and 23, as follows. The teachers has been worshipped by me. I have done what the Buddha taught. The heavy load has been laid down. The ties to existence removed. The reason for which I went forth from my home into homelessness, I have now achieved that purpose, destruction of all the fetters. Honestly, myself, when I read through these verses, my tears dropped. not because Venerable Mahāpajāpatī, Gotami Therī, and Parinibbāna, but because we have the same faith in the Buddha. We have the same reason of comfort, that is, to destroy all fetters. We have the same aspiration to lay down this very burden, the burden of this body, the existence in samsara. We have the same aspiration to end this tiring cycle of rebirth. And this is the chair of mudita. Having seen our Bhikkhunī founding mothers has done the job. She has completed her duty. I'm inspired. I wish, me too, in this very life, may reach the same spiritual achievement as Venerable Mahāpajāpatī, Gotami. Here, if we read, we find that after Venerable Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Therī's ordination, she was very diligent in mental development, bhavana. Having taken a meditation object from the Buddha, in a very short time, she attained Arahantship with the 6 direct knowledge and 4 analytical knowledge. And here, I wish to each and every one of you, whoever inspired by these verses, let us focus our mind, dedicate our efforts, energy, time, our lifespans to practice the Buddha's teaching for the rising of the right concentration and wisdom. As Venerable Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Therī has reminded us here through the verses, I have done according to the teaching. Therefore, we are not listening and learning the Dhamma, but doing the practice. Doing the practice itself is necessary. May you all be happy and healthy. May your noble aspiration be fulfilled at the earliest opportunity. Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu. All right. So, thank you very much, Venerable Arya Sankamita. Next up, we will hear from Venerable Bhikkhunī Vandana from India, who some of you may remember meeting last year, and she'll be returning to us again this coming year in the spring. And after that, our seminary Dhammajivi will be up, giving her a heads up. Okay.
Namo Buddhaya. I'm Bhikkhunī Vandana from India. Greetings to all the senior Bhikkhunis and all Dhamma friends on this most auspicious occasion of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami and founding Bhikkhunī Arahanta Parinibbāna Attami Uposatha. Today I'm going to share the 2 words that I like the most. It's from Mahāpajāpatī Therī Apadana. This Pali verse is from Chhatta Sangaya Tipitaka, 6th Council edition, verse 6th Council edition, and the verse number is 127 and 149. So the first verse that I like the most is verse number 127 from Chhatta Sangayana Tipitaka. Sacce mai daya atti yadi chathi katanyata Saddhamma Thittiya Sabba Karotha Viriyam Dalham. Here it means, if you feel compassion for me and if you all appreciate the great teachings and stability, then strong and fervent you should be. So I really like this verse because it's a powerful reminder of what true commitment means. It says that if we genuinely have compassion for someone and appreciate the stability of a great teaching, we shouldn't just acknowledge it, but we should actively uphold it with strength and passion. It inspires me because it's not just about feeling something, it's about showing it through unwavering dedication and efforts. The second verse is from CST, verse number 149. Natitti bubbang tava dasanena Jakkhung nasotang tava bhasitena Cittang mamang kevalamekαμeva Pappuyatang dhammarasena titi. Here it means, formerly my eyes and ears weren't satisfied by the vision of you nor hearing your speech. But now, having obtained perfection, my mind is satisfied by the taste of the teachings. So why I like this verse? Because it's beautifully expressed the transformation that comes within deep understanding. It speaks about how in the past physical senses, seeing and hearing, were never enough to bring true fulfillment. But now, with the realization of higher truth, the mind finds complete satisfaction in the wisdom of teaching. It's inspiring because it shows that true contentment doesn't come from external experiences alone, but from inner growth and enlightenment. So this is the true verse that inspired me the most, and I wanted to share with everyone. I hope everyone follow the path of the Dhamma and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana in this very life. May the Triple Gem bless all the living beings. Namo Buddhaya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Anumodana, Venerable Vandana. And yes, we can, hand the mic over to Seminary Dhammajivi. And let's see, do you have slides or shall I?
I have slides. So
okay.
Let's see. Oh, is there a request?
Yes, let's see, where are you?
Is it on? Can you see?
Not yet.
No.
Oh.
She calls.
Share? Can you see now? Okay.
Looks like coming.
Good evening, good night, good morning to all the venerables from all over the world. I appreciate this opportunity. My first words, it's been taught by Venerable Vanana, but I also want to bring a different definition. So I also put it on here, both the Pali and the translation from Jonathan Walters, and also the Cambodian version, just in case our Cambodian community, so that they can gain some knowledge as well. So I would like to share the translation from William Breer. Is that how you pronounce his last name? For the verse 127. Jonathan Walter's translation says, if you feel compassion for me, and if you all appreciate the great teachings, stability, then strong and fervent you should be. Now from William Briet, his translation says, if you have any sympathy for me, and if you have any gratitude, then, let me see if I can read it, then make a firm effort, all of you, for the continuation of the true doctrine. Another verse that's related to that, I'm not going to read the Pali, but it's related to this one here. It says, beseech by me, the Sambuddha gave ordination to women. Therefore, as I have shown myself, you all should follow after him. So I would like to read from William Briet as well. His translation is, the fully awakened one gave women the going forth when I entreated him. Therefore, as I would delight in it, so should you practice it. So Mahāpajāpatī Gotami, she worked so hard. Not only that, she asked the Buddha to grant ordination, but after they got ordained, she went and asked the Buddha to teach the women. And the bhikkhus then take turn to teach them. So she tried to prepare everything for us. So it's appropriate for her to really give this advice to women, and up to now. So that's why these two words are very important to me. The other one that's related to this as well, can you see it? No? Oh, I have to share it again. Okay, let's see. Okay.
Stop share and then share again.
Okay, let's see.
Up at the top.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me share it again. Let's see. It's this one. Can you see now? So this one is before Mahāpajāpatī Gotami entered Nirvana. She, as we heard the story, that Ananda was weeping, was crying. And also, some people have accused Ananda for giving Mahāpajāpatī or helping her to get the ordination, that they blame him. But this verse really clarified it, you know. This translation is verse 164 from Jonathan Walters as well. It says, being requested by you, dear, Buddha gave us ordination. Therefore, do not be distressed, son. Your effort is now bearing fruit. Now, the next verse, continue to that, is verse 165. That state, by the ancients, and likewise by rival teachers, is known by Buddhist young maidens, but they are only 7 years old. Now, I also want to give the translation from William, but just give it a little bit different translation of that. Just a second. His translation says, you requested our father obtain permission for us to go forth. Do not lose your mind, my son. Your effort has borne fruit. That which has not been seen by those in the past, even the teachers of the sectarians, that state has been experienced by very young 7-year-old girls. So these two verses really prove that it's a miraculous things that Ananda did. And the 7-year-old girls, I just want to show you that there was 2 bhikkhunis who were obtained arahantship at the age of 7. So just let me stop share, just quickly. So here, share. So this is the first one is Parinibbāna. She attained arahantship at 7, and let the other one quickly. let's see. Okay, this one, her name is Dasika Therī, the second Bhikkhuni who attained Arahantship at the age of 7. So that concludes my reflection. Thank you.
All right, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, thank you very much for sharing that. May I invite Ayasopana?
Namo Buddhaya. The verses that I read are very adjacent to the ones that Seminary Dhammajivi read. First, this is Ananda speaking. Gotami is going smiling. Surely then, soon the Buddha too will be going to Nirvana, like a fire whose fuel has run out. Ha santim Gotami yati nuna buddho binimbutim gacchati nachire neva aki rivani rindano. We see that the same pattern happens in the case of Mahāpajāpatī and then repeated in the case of the Buddha. So just as Ananda is grieving and weeping at Mahāpajāpatī's Parinibbāna, the same way he is weeping and grieving as the Buddha's Parinibbāna is approaching. Just the way the Buddha went on a 3-month tudong teaching the Dhamma, Mahāpajāpatī has spent a 1-week period of teaching the Dhamma. In many other ways, the two stories are in a parallel to each other. Gotami answers. Gotami said to Ananda, who was lamenting in this way, O son, keen on serving the Buddha, your wisdom's deep as the sea. Evang vilapamang tam anandam aha Gotami sutasagara gambhira buddha patana patpara. Just the same way that the Buddha comforted Ananda and gave him the reassurance, so in the same way Mahāpajāpatī also comforts him, reminds him about his wisdom and reminds him about his good deeds. The meaning I take from this for us, we are very aware of the cycle of being reborn in samsara, the painful cycle of dependent arising, taking us around and around in rebirth. But there's also a different cycle that's going on, a great, majestic cycle of enlightenment, awakening, the arising of Buddhas, and the arising of the different disciples of the Buddha and relatives of the Buddha, all arising again in each aeon to fulfill their role in both rediscovering the way of awakening and also perpetuating this pathway, the possibility of awakening for all of us. So I think that this idea that the characters in the story are following a pattern is showing us that there is also a pattern, a different pattern that we could follow. We don't have to follow the pattern of going around in samsara. We can follow the pattern of going towards liberation, towards awakening. As she continues, and so you really should not mourn when the time for smiling has come. Son, through your assistance to me, I have realized nirvana. Nayuttam sochitam puttam hasakale upatite taya me saranam puttam Nibbānam Dhammadarini. Just the same way that the Buddha is the great Kalyanamitta for Ananda and for all of us. So in this story we see that Mahāpajāpatī is the great Kalyanamitta, the beautiful friend, the beneficial friend for Ananda. Perhaps he's not able to understand that he possesses wisdom, except by having it reflected in the eyes of his aunt Mahāpajāpatī, who can see in him, yes, you have this wisdom. Yes, you can attain. Yes, you do have these merits because of the things that you have done. So because of that loving reflection between the older and the younger generation, then the younger generation is able to see that they possess within themselves the possibilities for nirvana. So with this brief reflection, that each one of us will discover in ourselves and realize the highest.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Anumodana. Thank you very much, Aye. Next we'll be hearing from Ayya Brahmavara, who many of you I think know. She's spent a good amount of time with us here. She's a wonderful teacher. She's based in the UK, but she is joining us online this evening via, well, not live, but via video. It's quite late at night in the UK, so we're happy to have her sharing with us this evening.
Greetings and respects to Ayya Tataluka and Ayya Sobana, and very delighted to be able to share some inspiration from these verses from the Upadana on Mahāpajāpatī Gotami's Parinibbāna. The verses that I've chosen to share inspiration from are 68 to 72. I'm here. Mahāpajāpatī Gotami says, once when he was preaching Dhamma, the chief leader of the world sneezed. At that time, compassionately I spoke well-wishing words to him. Live for a long time, great hero. Remain for an eon, great sage. For the sake of the entire world, do not grow old or pass away. The Buddha then said this to me, who had spoken to him like that. Buddhas are not to be worshipped, as you're worshipping, Gotami. How then, O one with omniscience, should the thus gone ones be worshipped? How should Buddhas not be worshipped? Being asked, tell this to me. See my followers united, vigorously energetic, constantly firm in their efforts. That is worship of the Buddhas. Then going back to the refuge, I alone reflected, the Lord who reached the three worlds' ends likes a united retinue. That's actually verse 73 to finish. So this I find very inspiring. It's very sweet as well. The Buddha sneezing and his mother, his stepmother who raised him, giving him a blessing. Just as we say bless you when somebody sneezes, and we hope that it's not going to be a sign of illness for them, which is why we're blessing them, that they be well. And the same way Mahāpajāpatī Gotami, when the Buddha sneezed, wished him to be well and enthusiastically wished for him to never be ill and to never pass, and to live for an eon for the benefit of all beings. And his response here to his mother, his stepmother, don't treat me in this way. don't respect me in this way, don't try and bless me in this way. Rather, how you can honor me. When she asks him, how can I offer blessings? How can I do my best for you? And he says, to be united in Sangha life, that my disciples practice in harmony with one another, and put these teachings into practice and practice well together. So I find this really beautiful, an encouragement actually that we hear again and again from the Buddha, the also refuge that we have in the Sangha, one of the three refuges for us. And so for me it's a reflection on Sangha, it's a reflection on an encouragement, the encouragement to do our best to get along with one another, to not find our differences a source of problems, but rather to be nourished by our differences, to be appreciative of our differences, and despite our different characters, personalities, views and so forth that we may hold until we don't, to unite, to come together, to harmonize, and to make this our work, that this is a work that the Buddha's exhorted us to perform, to give our hearts to harmonizing. And this is the strength, and this is the blessing that we can give to the world, to practice well and to harmonize with one another, and to offer that refuge of Sangha as well as the refuges of Buddha, our awakeness, our mindfulness, our practice, and Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha. So this is, I found to be very inspiring in these verses. There's so much else that's inspiring, and it's very beautiful to be able to come together to honor Mahāpajāpatī Gotami, one of the first Bhikkhunī Arahants and mother of the Buddha.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, Anumodana, Aya Brahmavara. I'd like to invite next, I think she's with us live, Aya Marajina, coming to us from Florida. Let's see. And there she is. Wonderful. Welcome, Aya. Happy to see you. And invite you to share some verses with us and some reflection.
Namo Buddhaya. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Everyone said an I. Hello, everyone. I chose two verses, and then I was told that these happened to be the refrain for the Abhidhamma, so I had to include a third one because it was, just they go together. So these are from the Walters, the number 76, 77, and 78. 77 and 78 are the ones that I had chosen. Oh, and I translated it. That's not best Buddha is not what I'm going to say.
Okay, I'll take it down. Let's hear your translation.
So the first one, though, Kilesa Japita Anhang Bhava Sabe Samuhata Nagiva Bandhanang Chetwa Viharama Anasoa, which is, our defilements burned, all becoming destroyed. Like a she-elephant who has broken her chains, I dwell free from the asavas. That's amazingly powerful. And that's just the first one. The other ones, I don't know if I should continue in Pali, but bear with me. Swagatang watame asi, buddhasetasa santike, Tiso vija anupatta Katang Buddhasa Sasanam. Welcome indeed was the presence of my Buddha. The 3 super knowledges attained. Done is the Buddha's instruction. Patisambhita chataso vimokapi cha atime chalabinya sachikata katang buddha sasasanam. The 4 analytical knowledges, the 8 liberations, the 6 psychic powers realized. Done is the Buddha's instruction. This Arahanti, she is done. She's really laid down that burden. She's laid it down with a huge thud. And I just wanted to go through what these lines mean. The Tiso Vija, which sometimes we see as Tevija, the 3 super knowledges of the Arahants. In the Tevija Vacha Sutta Majjhima Nikaya 71, the Buddha is recorded as having said, the first one, whenever I want, I recollect my many kinds of past lives. And whenever I want, with clairvoyance that is purified and superhuman, I see sentient beings passing away and being reborn, inferior and superior, beautiful and ugly. In a good place or a bad place, I understand how sentient beings are reborn according to their deeds. And I have realized the undefiled freedom of heart and freedom of wisdom in this very life. I live having realized it with my own insight due to the ending of all defilements. So those are the 3 super knowledges, and they come up again in the Abhinyas. But the 4 analytical knowledges are skills in communication. And actually what I learned, I think, in the Walters is that bhikkhunis shouldn't even pay attention to bhikkhus who don't have these. We should not accept. True. I'm paraphrasing something very similar. We should not accept admonishment from a bhikkhu who does not have the 4 analytical knowledges, and they are atha, the meanings, to understand the meanings, the comprehension. The 2 is dhammas with a little d, not the teachings, but the Nyanamoli translates that as ideas. So these are mental objects, just like for the mind, just like visual objects are for the eyes. Niruti, which is language, and Patibhanavant, which is knowledge of one's knowledge. This is like putting those first 3 together, and you know, and you can speak, and you can defend the Dhamma. And that's like the entire, that's like the whole Sutta Pitaka in those 4 qualities or factors. So, moving right along, I don't know how much time I have. Nobody said anything about timing.
Right. We might need to move on to our next speaker. I'm really enjoying your sharing, but we are a little behind schedule.
All right. Well, so anyway, what inspired me here was that, this is a done deal, and this is a woman, and according to the story, her aspiration was to attain foremost bhikkhuni as a woman. So sadhu, 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 moving right along.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yes, really appreciate your sharing, Anumodana. Okay. So, we have a couple more sharings on this topic. The next one is actually not from the Therī Abhidana, but the Therī Gatha. So in addition to these heroic past life biographies, there are also the verses, the Therī Gatha verses that come, like they're older. They're much more sort of directly from the mouth of these ancient Arahant Bhikkhunis as we understand the development of the text. So in addition to a Therī Apadana, Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī Therī has a Therī Gatha verse, and our Venerable Bhikkhunī Dhammavihari is going to share briefly about a phrase from that verse. Venerable Dhammavihari also came to visit us last year. She is from Canada and Vietnam and is currently in Sri Lanka, as far as I know. So very multinational group here, multinational person. We'll hear her sharing about the Gotamī Therī Gatha.
Today I choose this verse from Therī Gatha. Mata Putto Pita Bata Ayaka Japure Ahum Yatha Pucca Majananti Samsaringhang Anibisang. As Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Therī claimed, before she doesn't know about the Buddha teaching, she had lived life after life with samsara and enduring sufferings as a mother, a son, a father, a brother, and as a grandmother. Not knowing how and what them really are the ultimate two. I choose this verse because, like me, when I don't know about the Buddha teaching, I have lived through samsara, craving for desire, enduring suffering with greed, hatred, and delusion as a human, an animal, a ghost, an asura, etc. And as a human, I had tried to endure hardship of working to aim for future wealth and glory, or try to get better life after next life. When I'm not knowing the reality or the ultimate truth, I had always dwelt in the past, or thinking about the future, or try to find happiness in the midst of dreaming. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So, sorry for the low volume. I hope that was possible to hear. I have one more sharing from Venerable Anuvidita. She's from Germany and Costa Rica and is currently in Thailand. And she will be sharing about, actually not about Venerable Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī Therī, but about one of the other bhikkhunis who had her Parinibbāna at the same time. We want to remember that it was not only Mahāpajāpatī, but also the 500 founding mothers of the Sangha who went with her at this time. So Khema Therī is one of those original 500. She
actually was not one of that original group.
Well,
but
right, she was not. But she
joined this group.
Yes, she's one of the 500 who attained Parinibbāna at this date. She was not part of the original group that ordained with Mahāpajāpatī, but she is part of the group that entered Parinibbāna at this time. And she is known as the Buddha's disciple among the bhikkhunis who was foremost in wisdom. She's one of the two chief disciples, along with Upalawana Therī. And Venerable Anuvidita is just going to share a little bit from Venerable Khema Therī's Apadana. So here we go. I need to...
Hello, dear Dhammadarini Bhikkhunī Sangha. Please receive my most respectful greetings here from the middle of Thailand, from Chayapum, from Wat Pa Metagiri, with the permission of the present elder Bhikkhunis we have there. I would kindly like to ask for the opportunity to share some reflections. We'll talk a little bit about Khema Therī. She also, same as Gotami, attained Parinibbāna also on the same Uposatha, the same as our venerated Bhikkhuni mother, Mahāteri Gotami. So maybe you know a little bit about the story. She was born in a very wealthy family, and she was the queen or the wife of King Bimbisara, who was a very diligent disciple of the Buddha. And it seems like she was very, very beautiful and also attached very much to her beauty. And she avoided for quite some time to meet the Buddha, although the King Bimbisara supported him already a long time. And now with the small trick, the King Bimbisara found a way to send her or to let her meet the Buddha. So when she finally met the Buddha used a small trick due to his supernatural powers to catch her attention, and he created a projection next to him of a very, very beautiful woman who fanned him air, and Khema just saw this woman. She was amazed from this impeccable beauty and this appearance that was so extraordinary. And then the Buddha made this woman he let appear to see her, made her age and sicken and fall to the ground. And I would like to share a few verses of this moment. Her teeth fell out, her hair turned white, her mouth was fouled with saliva, ears shriveled up, eyes formed cataracts, breast sagged became repulsive, wrinkles spread on all her parts, veins popped out on this body, crook-limbed, leaned on a cane, jutting ripped, emaciated, trembling, falling onto ground, gasping for every breath she took. And then Khema was totally shocked because she just saw this beautiful woman, and then she just saw her just in front of her eyes, saw her. Well, all the beauty that she noticed just disappeared and was falling apart. And she saw that, and that really shocked her deeply, because she realized, like her, it could happen to me. And then the Buddha said to Khema, "Khema, see this complex heap as diseased, disgusting and putrid. It's oozing and dripping, the delight of foolish people, the delight of foolish people. Just as this, so too is that. Just as is that, so too is this. On the inside and the outside, be detached from body delight." And hearing that, Venerable Khema, she just became a stream enterer, and shortly after she became Arahant. So it was a really happy end situation for her that she finally went to see the Buddha. I just took this phrase because on one hand I'm also a little bit working at the moment with body contemplation, and on the other hand a super practice, that the practice of the contemplation of the body and seeing the true nature of the body is not always the most famous and most favorite practice of Buddhist practitioners. And I just wanted to point out that it's really not meant to like something very heavy, this body contemplation. It's really actually something that should help to get rid of quite a huge burden we are carrying around all the time. It's also nothing that should be connected like with feeling guilty or discovering the sin of this body or whatever. It's really something that we are encouraged to see just very neutral how it is, to get rid of our wrong understanding and the linked wrong expectations we might have linked to this issue. I always like to remember that the Buddha and his disciples, they were always described like very, very joyful and very light. I think that is coming from a lightness of the heart that is rid of burdens, like, for example, the misunderstanding of the nature of our body, for example. So I would like to wrap it up here and encourage you maybe to approach a little bit the topic of the body contemplation, because I think the Buddha really emphasized and encouraged us to work with that too, although it might be a topic that is not so easily approachable sometimes, and it takes a certain courage because it's something that is coming very close. It's touching very deep identifications we have developed, so we might have to be careful with ourselves when we work with that. But on the other hand, I think it's really, really worthwhile to include that in our practice. I would finish here. I wish all present beings all the best, a good progress on the path, and I also wanted to express my deep respect to the Dhammadarini Bhikkhunī Sangha, and thank you for inviting me.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, thank you very much to Venerable Anuvirita. I really appreciate her reflection on just how courageous really we must be to face these things and to overcome them. So we are running a little bit behind in our program. We're about 20 minutes behind. So we're not going to have a chance for discussion right now, though if anyone would like to stay after the program and have a little time of discussion and fellowship together, we can. There is just, we're going to shift modes at this point. We've learned and listened to all of these Abhidhamma verses. Hopefully had some useful, inspiring reflections there. We're going to briefly talk about a couple of new developments or new discoveries regarding Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Therī and how she is being honored in India. So I'm going to invite Seminary Dhammajivi again to give a brief version of her her presentation on and this is on the rediscovery of the Mahāpajāpatī Parinibbāna stupa outside of Vesali. So this was Okay, she's ready. Invite her to share.
It's all good. Okay. Good evening again. I'm honored to present this portion because I've been to her stupa twice. So I'll be presenting discovery of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami, Therī's stupa, where she, where it's believed to be the place where she entered her Parinibbāna. So let's see. So this is as recorded by Pilgrim Dzogchen in the 7th century. And during his stay at Vesali, he visited the place where Mahāpajāpatī Gotami attained her nirvana along with the 500 bhikkhunis. And he marked the place where Amitabha's place resident, as where she had entered Parinibbāna, and it's like 3-4th line northeast of this monastery. It's the Samatya Monastery, which is near Amitabha Mango Grove. So according to the Geographic Information System study of Dzogchen's sacred description in Vesali's of sacred site, suggests that it's about around 1.5 to 2.5 kilometers northeast direction of that monastery, which is Amitabha's mangroves grove. And also it's as presented by our modern explorer Deepak Anand. So what did I? Yeah. And he presented, that was offered by Dhammadarini on July 4th, 2020. It was offered by Dhammadarini. And the reason is that the importance of Dzogchen accounts because Buddhism declined in India after 12th century due to political climates. And sacred Buddhist sites were forgotten or renamed. So as you can see, like the Mahavihara was not even known as the origin of Buddhism back as late as recent as 18th century per Deepak. And also the yes. Small, can you see it? Okay. Oh, can you see better? Okay. But I cannot read my thing. That's okay. So yeah, so it's as recent as 18th century, where people did not know the origin of Buddhism, even in the Mahavihara in India. So that's why Dzogchen account, because not only that he described the location of the Buddhist site, but he also give details of the shrine, the temples. And not all of his description has been, that's been revealed, has been known yet. So that because some of these places was people are still living in, so that's where Deepak Anand's coming in. He can go in by foot. So so this is where his journey and that he presented was called Retracing Bodhisattva Dzogchen. And so this is his trace, the detailed account of his journey from China in the 7th century. And to the right, this is the journey, the red lines, like this is Dzogchen's journey. And the green dots is Deepak Anand's journey. So, so through his journey, he came to the one that we focus on is the Mahāpajāpatī Nibbana place. And with Dzogchen's direction, and it's pointed to the village called Verpu. And with Ananda Deepak's journey, he was able to find, can I move this? I cannot see. There we go. He was able to point at this, that tree, that area. That's where the village is, where they went to Nirvana, and that's where the Bali's resident. Am I going backward? Okay. Okay. So, and also because of this finding, also it led to a launching of an annual commemoration at the site by Nalanda Mahavira, which is deemed university, and it was first launched in 2024. So 2025 will be its second year. And as a co-founder of Cambodian Bhikkhunī Sangha initiative, we visited the place twice in 2022 and 2023. So I'm going to go quickly through our journey. Okay. So in November 2022, we were in India to sponsor the 4th Cambodian woman to ordain with the UTBSI First International Bhikkhuni ordination. And also we brought in 3 Cambodian women who were ordained in Malaysia previously from Cambodia to help or to support the ordination, also for the pilgrimage to strengthen their faith. Because these are the first 4 Cambodian from Cambodia to be ordained. So what happens, as we went through our pilgrimage, Venerable Tataloka has been my mentor, so she knew, she received updates from me of our activities. So when we were in Vaseli, is that? Yeah. And so she informed me that we were near the Mahāpajāpatī stupa. So, and she sent me the link to the Nalanda's article about the location that Zan Juan was talking about. Has the description, and we didn't know the exact place. So, but we know that it was like 1.5 to 2.5 kilometer northeast of that Bali mango groves. So we would just visit it there. So what happened, we would just start asking people. So we drove to that direction about 1.5 kilometer. We start asking people. So we stop, and then we ask people, and we through a few stops, we got to the stop where the people, and we showed the picture from the article, and the people recognize the people in the article and also know the place. So then we just got to the place, and so as we walked, we saw this, on our path, we saw this strange looking platform. Okay, and local people were walking with us to show us direction, and some were just curious why we were there. Okay, so then we got to the site. Here's a tree. Seems like it's sitting on a hill. It seems like there's a stupa underneath it, and also this place you can see remains of clay pots, broken clay pots. If you look just below the bank, or just on the edge of the water, and also surrounding this area, they dug the place to make railroad. So you can see some of the background here. So I just want to speed it up. I know we're behind. The next, in December 2023, we went again, and this time when we had a Cambodian Bhikkhunī Sangha with 4 members. So we went this time to participate in the international Tibetan chanting, which was organized by Cambodia. So we went to visit the place again after the program was over. So here's our walking path to that place. And we noticed this on the left side here, you can see what was changed. So what was changed at this, in November 2022, this platform is gone. It's like this, it looked like here. So that disappeared, we don't know what happened. Unfortunately, when we got there, the surrounding area flooded. We were no longer able to walk by foot. So we had to leave to the Buddhist monastery in Vesali, but we plan to come back and figure out how to get there. And where we want to get is that little tree right there, So what happened when we came back, there was a canoe approaching us. So we took the canoe to the place. It's a miracle. So we got to the place, and the canoe was waiting for us and allowed us to pay respect to the place. So I think that's quick enough.
All right.
Can I share just 2 slides? 2 slides?
I think we should move on.
Okay.
But thank you very much for sharing your picture. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yes. Remove your cue. Okay. So, yes, thank you very much for sharing. And I notice we have Deepak himself here right now. I'm actually going to very briefly share something additional. So Deepak is a researcher in India who has been exploring and finding all of these ancient sites based on the records from the Chinese pilgrim Xuanzang in the 7th century. And trying to restore these sites. As you can see, they're not really well developed on the tourist path at the moment, but he's working to start developing these places as places of pilgrimage again. And so I wanted to share about one initiative of that related to what Seminary Dhammajivi has just shared. So new initiative allowing us to follow in the footsteps of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami and the Courageous 500. So this is the Mahāpajāpatī Great Renunciation Trail that Deepak is working to develop along with the Light of Buddha Dharma Foundation International and Navanalanda Mahavihara, deemed a university. So this is the trail that Mahāpajāpatī Gotami and the 500 women of the palace walked on foot from their home city of Kapilavastu to Vesali when they were going to request ordination from the Buddha. It's about 200 miles on foot. And you know, they made it, they got ordained, and I think seems like stayed largely in Vesali because that's also the place of Mahāpajāpati's Parinibbāna 40 years later. So this is the map, and there is a proposal to start developing this trail with a first commemorative 6-day event. Proposed tentative dates for this are December 16th to December 21st. Oh, am I not actually screen sharing? Sorry. I'm trying to put this on the screen. Just a moment. Where did my Zoom go? Okay. Sorry about that. I thought I was sharing. Okay. There we go. Okay. So you can see now this is the map. And so proposed tentative, not yet confirmed dates for a pilgrimage along this trail from December 16th to December 21st this year. There will be an event visiting the major Buddhist sites on the trail, raising awareness and popularizing the trail, and making a documentary film with interviews of bhikkhunis from different traditions and countries. So this is not yet a 200-mile walking trip. This is preparing the way for the Bhikkhunī Sangha to make that journey on foot in a future year. So it's going to start on the 16th in Kapilavastu. I'm not going to go through the whole schedule here, but I will note that this is coming directly after the International Tipitaka chanting from December 13th to 13th in Bodh Gaya, and the pilgrimage walk on the Jatian Valley Trail on the 14th. So if somebody wanted to make a longer pilgrimage related to those events, it would be convenient. Some highlights are on December 16th, launching with offering a temporary Samaneri Pabaja going forth ordination at the place of the Buddha to be and Mahāpajāpatī Gotami and Courageous 500's own great going forth place in Kapilavastu, Nepal. Then on December 19th, it's an Uposatha day, so reciting the Bhikkhunī Patimokkha at the ancient mound and stupa, which was the place of the Buddha's cutting off his hair at the time of his great renunciation. Again, this is not a well-developed, well-known site, so this would be a new thing to be going there. And then ending on the 21st with a program at that tree that Seminary Dhammajivi was just telling us about at the Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī Parinibbāna stupa site, which has started to be celebrated again on this day. Actually, earlier today, or yesterday in India time, there was a second-year program for the Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī Parinibbāna celebration at this site. So it's coming up again. And so just wanted to let you know about these events. And again, it's all tentative right now, but if you're interested, you can put it on your calendar and see if you might want to join.
Start training for a 200-mile walk.
Right. So just wanted to share about that. And I wanted to, I don't want to go too much longer, but I do want to very briefly say, Deepak, are you here? Do you want to say hello just briefly?
Still on.
No? Okay. Well, I see his name, but I don't see his face. So anyway, Anumodana to Deepak for all of his efforts in this regard. Coming close to the end, but before we close, I would like to invite Nuchada, is Dhammadarini Support Foundation's Director of Development, and she's here with us this evening, and she's going to, I think, share with us briefly a few reflections and sharing about Dhammadarini Support Foundation and mission. Thank you, Nuchada. Happy to see you.
Thank you, Venerable Kaccāyana. Good evening, good morning, Venerables and lay supporters. My name is Nuchada Prai Pirun Road, and her name is Thai. I am the Development Director of Dhammadarini Support Foundation. Today, I'm honored to speak on behalf of Support Foundation and our Sangha's lay supporter. And I will go very fast and very brief. Today I will just change the gear a little bit. I will be sharing Visakha's story from the layperson perspective. I highlight her profound generosity and vibrant dedication to the Dhamma. And many of you may already heard about the story of Visakha, especially as we gather to honor the Parinibbāna day of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami, one of the great women from the time of the Lord Gautama Buddha. So starting from the background, so as you know, the disciple of the Lord Gautama Buddha we had during the 6th and 5th century BC, there is Bhikkhunī, and Upasaka and Upasika. So Buddha has achieved among the 4 group of disciples. We know that the 4th group of disciples who could help Buddha in the monastic in a different ways. The 2 chief disciples among Buddhist monks are Arahant Sariputta and Arahant Mahamukhalana. And the 2 chief disciples among the Buddhist Bhikkhuni were Arahant Khema and Arahant Upavana. And for the Upasaka is Anattapitika, and for the chief female lay disciple is, of course, was Visakha. So who is Visakha? Visakha was the chief female disciple as well as the chief benefactors of the Lord Gautama Buddha. She was born in a wealthy aristocratic family, and she attained the first noble stage of stream entry, Sotapadana, at the age of 7. So the Buddha visited the town of Bodhiya and accompanied by other monks and were invited to Mendaka's house. And I think Mendaka's is her father's. And during the time the visit, Visakha met Buddha and were able to listen to his discourse, and at that point she attained Sotapadana. So among the generous donation of Buddha was the greatest donation was Buddharam Monastery, and Buddharam is the big, beautiful monastery that Buddha stayed there for 6 rainy seasons, and he delivered a number of important discourse. So I'm just going to go get to the heart of the story. So one day Visakha approached Buddha and asked for the 8 boons, mean offering. The Buddha questioned her as to what benefit she would expect to receive from these offerings. She explained that if she come to know of any monk who has raised and visited Savatthi, where Buddha is staying at that time, and also as well as Visakha, and has attained stage of Buddhist spiritual part, she would know that he would have received some of her offerings. And when she reflects on that, she will feel glad and happy. When her mind is happy, her body will be tranquil. When her body is tranquil, she will feel pleasure. When she feels pleasure, her mind will become concentrated. And when her mind concentrated, it will result in development of spiritual faculties, spiritual powers, and factors of enlightenment. Visakha had 10 sons and 10 daughters, and she passed away at the age of 120. And due to her meritorious actions, she was reborn as a deity in the celestial world called Nimanaradi. And because of me sharing Visakha's story today, I wish that may the spirit of Visakha's generosity continue to inspire us. And to conclude the story, I have some exciting news to share that and the clay of Visakha's stupa, where she met the Buddha, is coming to us to celebrate Dhammadarini 20th anniversary. And I'm not going into details because I'm sure that they will share later with the monastery. And thank you for listening. And sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Nuchada. Yes, it's good to be reminded of the stories of all of these really great women and their wonderful qualities. So honoring Visakha as well. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move into closing at this point, though we still have a few things just as we close to bring us back to our reflection on these 500 courageous women, or 501, entering Parinibbāna together on this day. I'm going to bring us back just to these verses of the Abhidhamma again, sharing some of the verses spoken by the 500. This is shared by Venerable Adimuti from New Zealand.
Hey hero, it was Gotami who showed pity to all of us. Perfumed by your good karma, we reach destruction of our constraints. Our defilements are now burnt up, all new existence is destroyed. Like elephants with broken chains, we are living without constraint. Being in best Buddha's presence was a very good thing for us. The 3 knowledges are attained. We have done what the Buddha taught. The 4 analytical modes and these 8 deliverances. 6 special knowledges mastered. We have done what the Buddha taught. We are the masters of miracles, O sage so great. We are the masters of the divine ear faculty and knowing what's in others' hearts. We know all of our former lives. Divine ear now, divine eye now is purified. All the constraints have been destroyed and there will be no more rebirth. It was in your presence, great sage, that our own knowledge came to be, knowing meaning in the teaching, etymology and preaching. Leader, you are surrounded by us, Buddhist nuns with hearts full of love. O great sage, give your permission to us to all reach Nirvana. The victor said, what can I say? To to women who were telling me, we are going to reach Nibbana. Know that now is your time for it.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to share a slideshow of some images of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami. We've heard her story. We can see these images again, reflect on them, feel the inspiration of them. I'll invite you to sit in silent meditation for just 2 minutes, 2 or 3.
Atanyusa Gotami Mahāpajāpatī Matucha Buddha Siddhasa Saranang Gatva Bhikkhunī Sanghang Parinibbāna Gotamī namami.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Therefore, be lamps or islands unto yourselves, the foundations of mindfulness your domain. Cultivate the 7 factors of awakening and put an end to suffering. So we can close by paying our respects to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and anyone who would like to stay afterwards and have a little discussion and about everything you've heard today, welcome. Otherwise, we'll close the formal part of our program this evening. Okay.
Arahant
Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhaṃ Bhagavantaṃ Abhivadane.
Swakato
Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami.
Sabhatipanno
Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Oh, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been wonderful to have you all together, and we'll wish you a good night. We'll sign off from the live stream, and then anyone who does wish to stay on may do so.